Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This week I wanted to discuss the topic of ghosting. I think this is going to be something very interesting and very relevant and very current right now. But I'll have you guys know that ghosting's been around for years. It's been something that people have done in relationships and friendships for so many years. And I feel like now with internet and online dating and the anonymity and the depersonalization that the internet gives us, people are sort of using that and hiding behind this anonymity and just making this whole ghosting in dating a lot more acceptable and a lot more normal. But it's not normal behavior. It's the most coward behavior. It's the worst way to break up with someone is by ghosting them. I just wanted to discuss some of the reasons and types of ghosting that goes on, and also what to do if you've been ghosted, because I feel like it really does damage the ego and you do start questioning everything you know about that person, about relationships, or when the ghosting happens in friendships, it also betrays that trust and just betrays your perception of people. And it's something that we really need to understand, that it's not about us. But as much as the internet gives you anonymity, it also facilitates walking out on someone much easier. Let's say you go on a few dates with someone and then you decide that it's no longer for you. It's really much easier to just send someone a text message and say, you know what, it was really nice getting to know you, but I don't think this is for me, or it's not the right time, or it's not the right person, so I just don't want to waste your time. Whereas before you had to see someone face to face or have that conversation on the phone, which is more harder to do. So as much as internet gives you anonymity, it also facilitates you to break it off with someone. Very easy, very simple, but do the right thing. So if you're still choosing to ghost, or if you're still being ghosted, then the person you're dealing with is an absolute piece of trash and an absolute coward, because they're just taking the easy way out, and there are so many ways of them letting you know where you stand, but they're just choosing not to do that to make life easier for themselves. So what is ghosting? Ghosting is when someone that you've been talking to or dating, or you've been in a relationship with, or even a friendship, suddenly, without a reason or an explanation or a trigger, just ends up disappearing out of your life like a ghost. Hence why it's called ghosting. They literally just poof, they're gone. If you've had a fight and you've done something that's upset your partner, or they've done something to upset you, and then there is no longer communication, at least you know what may have been the reason for them. It's not justifiable still for them to just walk away without giving you that reason or explanation, but at least there was a certain trigger that you may potentially associate the ghosting with. But if it happens randomly out of the blue, let's say you guys have plans for Friday, and you guys are talking fine and everything's great, and you've cuddled the whole night last night, and then Friday's coming up and there's no text, there's no call, they don't follow through with the plans, you have been just left on red and you don't understand the reason why. You've done nothing wrong, everything was fine, and suddenly they've disappeared. And essentially what ghosting comes down to is the person that's doing it is scared of conflict or confrontation, and they're a coward. So they're just taking the easy route out for themselves. It's the most selfish act that you could possibly do, and that's what they're choosing to do. Which means that you never really mattered in the first place, because they're okay with doing that to you. So that's your answer even from the start. But obviously, as people, and when our egos are bruised, we're going to want to analyze. There is a number of reasons why you would get ghosted. But if you think about it, the fact that they've already chose to ghost you shows that they're scared of having an adult conversation or a confrontation or a conflict. So they're not going to give you the answers that you're looking for regardless, because if they were going to do that, they wouldn't have ghosted you in the first place. So remember, the more you chase, the more they'll run, because you're chasing them for answers, and that's confrontation. And because they know that they don't want that, they're just going to keep running away. So you could double and triple text someone, you could call them, you could harass them, they're not gonna ever give you any of the answers that you really want, because if they were gonna do that and they had that conscience, they would have done so to begin with. So just know that chasing them is not an option. But let's look at the 3 types of ghosting that kind of happens. So the first type of ghosting is usually when it's nobody's really invested in the relationship, it's very early stages. Let's say you're on a dating website or an app and you guys are talking a couple times, or you've even had a date. It's not just the talking period. You guys have been on a date, but then again, it's very early stages and you're getting to know each other. So just because you've been on a date, there's no really commitment or investment. It's about meeting people, getting to know them and seeing if they're right for you or not. So once you've done that and you've realized that they're not really right for you, or you don't really want a relationship with this person, you decide not to really speak to them again, or they decide not to really speak to you again. Again, it's not really the best way or the most respectful way to deal with things, but it's sort of acceptable to an extent, because there's really no real investment from either side, and there's really, everybody knows where they stand. There's no expectations, there's no promises made. Therefore, if they meet you and they don't necessarily like you and they decide to pull away, or vice versa, you don't like them and you pull away, that's like the mildest form of ghosting, and is semi-acceptable, because you don't always owe everybody an explanation, an answer, who doesn't mean anything to you, or you've just met, or that respect and that expectation hasn't been built. So it's okay, everybody just accepts it and moves on, and that's fine. The second type of ghosting is where it gets more painful. It's very disrespectful. It's very could really be crushing and bring your ego down. And this is the kind of ghosting where you've been in a relationship, they're your official partner, or you guys have been dating or seeing each other for a very long time, or like it's very steady. So it's more solid than just getting to know stage. Or if you're in a friendship, again, you are friends, it's a solid friendship, things have been discussed, trust has been built, and suddenly they disappear. When that happens is where it's really, really hurtful, because you are left without any explanation or answers. So the first thing that you do, because you don't have those answers, is look within yourself. So you self-analyze and see what you've done wrong. You self-punish. You start questioning your sanity. You start questioning your actions, your morals, everything, because you feel like it must be your fault. If someone decided just to walk out on you and not have a care in the world about it, it's because you must be a bad person. That's why they left you. But this is where we need to just pull back a second and understand that if we're being ghosted, it actually has got nothing to do with us. It's the person who is doing the ghosting cannot face their problems, their issues, they've lied, they've been dishonest, they have hidden agendas, brave about it and face the problem, so they're just running away from it. And by them not giving you answers is because they know that the answers are just not good enough. And therefore, whatever reason they've used to walk away from you is just very selfish. They've obviously, it's like they're getting caught up with a lie. Now, let's say you're talking to someone and they haven't been very honest with you about it. So you guys start dating and you're kind of getting more into a steady relationship, and then suddenly they disappear. And the thing is, most likely is because they just never really prioritized you, or saw that whatever that they were discussing that they wanted to build with you actually had the intention of doing that with you. So they've lied to you, they've said whatever it takes, they're getting caught up with the lie. They have been dating you and they've told you they're single because they just wanted to have a little bit of fun, but they're not really single. They're just going through a hard time in their relationship. So they wanted to fill that gap up. They started seeing you or dating you, and things actually turned out to be a lot better than what they expected. But now they are reconciling their relationship with their partners. So you're in a position where there's someone that you love and you want to build and get back and fix, and there's someone that you've started liking and it's actually going really well, but you don't know what to do because you've now lied and you're getting caught up. And in that situation is when a man or a woman that's stuck in the middle decides to ghost, because one, they don't want to look like the bad guy. So they don't want to really show you their true colors. So they'd rather just, you don't know. They just disappear and let you wander. Secondly, they don't want to burn all their bridges, because what if in case that relationship with their partner doesn't work out again, and they want to keep that door open just so whenever they need a shoulder to cry on or someone to run back to, you're still available. So they don't really want to tell you the real reason why they're just ghosting you. They're just gonna keep it not keep it civil, sorry, they'll disappear from your life, but they won't tell you why, so that when they come back, they can give you an explanation or a reason and hope that you buy that. But don't buy it, because once someone ghosts you, they will continue doing so, especially if they know that they can walk back in and act like nothing's happened, and you will accept that, because you are now showing them what your boundaries are, and that you're showing them that that behavior is acceptable to you. So why wouldn't they do it again? It's convenient and it's easy. The second reason that mainly you get ghosted is not really nice to accept, but it's probably because you were in competition with someone else and you've lost. The other person won. So the person that you've been speaking to, the person that ghosted you, had options. You were one of the options, and they just decided not to go with you. So they just don't feel the need to give you a reason or an explanation, because you never really mattered to them. You were not worthy of their time or to face that confrontation or deal with the headache. So again, they're choosing the easy option out. If someone tells you that they're busy, that's why they haven't been in touch, or that's why they chose to ghost you, that is the weakest excuse in the book. Because we're all busy, but we have a list of people that we prioritize. You could be all over the world, you could be working all hours, but if you have a list of people that you prioritize, like your close friends, your family members, and if they message you or call you, you may not be able to respond to them right away, but you know that sooner or later, preferably sooner, you have to get back to them. So even if it's the last thing that you do at night, for example, if my mother calls me, regardless of how busy I am or what I'm doing, I know that within the next few hours, I have to reach back out to her, because she's my mother and she's so important to me, and she calls me or I need to speak to her. So the communication will not be dead. If the person that you have been talking to uses the excuse as they've been busy, all it does is that it shows you that you're not one of their priorities. You don't fall under that list of important people that they would prioritize. So that again is an indication of where you stand and where the unbalance is. As in, you may regard them in one way and they regard you in a totally different way, and they may be your priority, you're definitely not theirs. So if they're using busyness as an excuse for not getting back to you, and it's a pattern and they just ghost you and then reappear, that's not reason, it's an excuse. And they're just using that, and if it works and you believe it, then voila, they've achieved what they wanted to. You are facilitating that for them. So if someone really cared about you or genuinely felt the way they say they do, they would find the time. You can always find 2 seconds to text back. So that's no excuse. The third type of ghosting is probably the most hurtful out of the three, because this is used by abusers and narcissists, and it's more of a power and control tactic. It's more tactic of manipulation. So this kind of ghosting is actually, after my research, I found out that it's called zombieing, because they disappear, but then they come back. They disappear, they come back. Like a zombie, they come back from the dead. They decided to ghost you, they died, but then they're back as a zombie. And this type is when they completely disappear out of your life because they know that it will hurt you and it will really make you question yourself, it'll knock your confidence out. And then they come back and they just want to see if they can manipulate you, if they can still have that power over you, and they just play games with you. And they give you weak excuses, like I said, with the being busy, or they're playing around with you. They're only coming back for temporary reasons to practice that power over you again and to get their confidence boost, because they know that they have full control over you, and then they will disappear again. And that's when it gets very, very hurtful, and you get very confused and you get put off from relationships altogether because you start thinking this is what people do. But please remember that just because you've dealt with a bunch of losers or this has happened to you before, that one, there is anything wrong with you, because there isn't, and two, that everybody will do that to you. That's not the case at all. So now that we know the 3 types of ghosting and some of the reasons why people ghost, what do you do if you've been ghosted? First things first, like I said, you never ever chase, because they're already running away from you. So if you chase, you have shot yourself in the foot. You are never going to get an answer. And second thing is to actually, their actions should already give you your answers. You don't need that validation to hear from them. You need to keep your dignity intact, be gracious about it, and thank God that you dodged the bullet, because rejection is a form of protection. You have dodged the bullet, because once someone's a ghoster, they will always remain a ghoster, because the problem lies in them, not you. So you could change yourself. You could be the best person that you could possibly be. If they have a problem with confrontation and conflict, and they haven't addressed or fixed, they could disappear for 6 months. But when they come back 6 months later and they don't actually know that they have a problem, or they don't actually address their problem, they will repeatedly do the same things. They will come back, give you some reasoning as to why that happened and apologize, do what they must, have their fun, enjoy your company, use you for whatever that may be, and then they will do it again, because there wasn't many consequences of their actions the first time. So once someone ghosts you and shows you how they're choosing to treat you, that is them showing their true colors. It is not your job to now paint them a different color. They've put all their cards out on the table. You know what you're dealing with. So the first time is not your fault if you get ghosted, because you did not know. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're allowing that behavior over and over again, then you need to look at yourself and think, why is this happening to me over and over again? Why am I allowing this person to treat me this way? And I am accepting it. Why is my self-worth and self-respect and dignity is getting thrown about and kicked about by someone who has shown me that I literally have no worth to them, and yet I'm allowing them back in my life? Then you cannot blame the ghoster for ghosting you. You have to look at the part that you have to play in allowing them to ghost you when it's happened before, and yet you've turned a blind eye to it. So if you're aware of it and you can see the signs, understand that they've already demonstrated their true feelings towards you. Actions versus words. Their actions ghosted you, their words are giving you weak, sorry as apologies. And you just have to weigh the options and see. Now, every time you come out of a relationship like this, the important thing for us to do is to really look at your standards and upgrade them for the next time. So if you're going to allow the same person to come back, that means that you haven't upgraded your experiences and your expectations and just your perception of what a relationship should be. So you're going to get approached by the same sort of people, because those are the standards that you're setting. So you always have to upgrade that post every relationship, because you learn things about yourself, and you also learn things about your partner and the things that you don't like and dislike and like. So you should use that as leverage to then next time you meet someone, understand that, okay, I see the signs already, I'm not liking it, I'm not going to put myself through that again. So if you're being ghosted, my advice to you is the minute someone ghosts you, that's it. You cut them off and you move on with your life. You are done. Because, repeating myself again, they will ghost you again. It's them. They are the problem, not you. I really hope that you guys found this video helpful, just to understand the psyche of ghosting and why people choose to ghost. It's definitely not the right way of dealing with things. It's definitely not the respectful way of dealing with things or the acceptable way of dealing with things. But unfortunately, some people choose the coward way out. So, and that's nothing to do with us. It's not your fault. I hope that this has helped you guys understand a little bit better, and that you feel comfortable enough in sharing your experiences with ghosting, because I feel like the more we talk about it, the more it'll help other people who are experiencing this sort of unfair treatment. Thanks so much for watching. I will be posting videos here every Sunday, so please subscribe to my channel, like and comment on this video, and I'll see you guys again here soon. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah.